All right. Hello, everyone. You are on the Wednesday night Better Health Now Facebook Live. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm your host, Coach Jeevers. Thank you so much, by the way, real quick, for all of the great comments on tonight's topic, because, I really do think it's such an important topic because it's the very, very core of what longevity is about nutritionally. So many of you that are joining us have been with longevity for a long time or even for a short time. And then there's some of you who are brand spanking new. So for those of you that are brand spanking new, I just want to introduce myself. So I'm Sanjeev Javia. They call me Coach Jeevers. I sit on the Scientific and Medical Advisory Board and also the Athletic Advisory Board. And I love to do nutrition training and education and formulation and all that sort of stuff. So it's just an incredible role for me at longevity. But one of the things that you are going to learn about that many of you already know and is the longevity philosophy and the longevity mission. And it starts at the very, very beginnings of our founder, Dr. Joel Wallach. So Dr. Joel Wallach is a pioneer in nutrition and really health and wellness. So it's not even nutrition, because as you understand, nutrition is a vehicle to becoming healthier and to having a higher quality of life and not being at the mercy of some of the major health concerns that either your physician has told you that you are genetically predisposed to, or whether you think that because of the lifestyle choices that you have led early on, that you're going to be faced with these things. And even though the numbers are astronomical, I mean, when you think about it, you've got 1 in 3 individuals who will have some sort of cancer diagnosis. You've got the heart disease and cardiovascular disease causing trauma every 44 seconds, a heart attack every 40 seconds. And then you've got, this whole onslaught of diabetes and obesity when you're looking at almost 75% of our nation, which is basically, worldwide too. Those numbers are really in line worldwide, is overweight. And then almost 40% of those individuals, of that 75%, are clinically obese. And the reason why I kind of note that is that obesity is truly, it's truly a disease, because it affects so much of our systems. It affects so much of our well-being. It affects so much of our even genetic profile that it becomes its own kind of major diagnosis. And many of you out there are dealing with some of these issues. Let's just be honest. What is that? As I've learned as I've gotten older, is that I am really seeing the statistics of health issues. Early on, when I was a lot younger, I didn't know anyone that was dealing with diabetes. I didn't know anyone that had a stroke or a heart attack or was diagnosed with cancer. Well, after I turned 40, I will say that it seemed that news became very apparent to me. And now I'm understanding where these statistics are actually living, and they're living amongst all of us. And so when I talk about longevity and I talk about Dr. Wallach and I talk about our mission, I really am talking about the original kind of core message that Dr. Wallach had, which was, to end suffering. Because having a disease, having an illness, being frightened of where your future is going to be from a health standpoint, that is suffering. And I went through it, myself with my mom, is that, sure, the stroke was really bad and the post stroke was terrible because it was a fatal stroke. But the years that led up to that stroke, the constant worry about what system was going to be impaired because of her diabetes, feeling the aches and pains, every morning, all of that, not being able to do all of the things that she wanted to do, that she saw all of us doing, that is suffering. And that is even more even more traumatic than the end, which is obviously something that can be very, very, very fatal, obviously, but more importantly is that that can significantly affect your quality of life in a way in which you may never get it back. And that's the thing, is that you have to understand, and I just gave this talk the other day, is that the reason why prevention is so important, the reason why doing all of the things that you are able to do with the knowledge, with the support, with the ability, with the desire, with the commitment to do them right now, is because once you have some sort of health issue that has been diagnosed, and Dr. Lindell, one of our board members, a cardiovascular surgeon for 30 years, he talks about diagnosis as being a death sentence. And the reason why he talks about that is because when you're diagnosed, there's two things. There's a mental state that somebody goes through that says, oh man, now I got this and I don't know how to get rid of it, so I'm just going to be at the mercy of it. That's one part. But then the second part is that once you get a diagnosis, remember, the body is incredibly, incredibly resilient. It is not going to show you the symptoms of your poor health or your ill health until it just can't take it anymore. And when I tell you that the body is incredibly resilient and it can take a lot, then you can understand that when I tell you that when it shows you, it's oftentimes much too late. And it's oftentimes in a place in which it's going to be incredibly difficult for you to get whole or for you to get back to status quo. Sometimes it's just slowing the prevention or slowing the progression now of this immediate trauma that you're dealing with. So when I'm talking about that because that's what Dr. Wallach's mission, that's what Youngevity's mission has always been about, is that what can we do for you right now if you understand the role and the power and the impact of prevention. And some of you are going to realize that, and some of you aren't. It isn't human nature necessarily to do all of these things without seeing the benefits right away. I think that most of us, whether it's in our nutritional life, whether it's in our behavioral life, whether it's in our personal life, whether it's in our financial life, whatever areas of our life, we oftentimes don't do all of the things that we need to do to achieve our goal because we don't see the immediate benefit. We don't see the immediate result. And because we don't see the immediate result, we don't get that reinforcement that what we're doing is the right thing and what we're doing is actually going to make a difference. Let's just be honest. A lot of us just don't have the faith. We don't have the faith because understandably, we've never been there, or it's such a struggle to get there that without us seeing the evidence of what we're doing, it's tough for us to stay on track. Now, I think that we all realize that. And therefore, when we're talking about what Youngevity's mission is, which is to keep you not necessarily away from the health issues that your body may face one day, because it's really, really difficult to say that what you're going to do is going to avoid a Parkinson's issue or an Alzheimer's issue or a cancer issue or a lupus issue or one of these kind of diseases or illnesses. Because, in my belief, even though we've defined those in the medical sense, when our system is completely broken, the evidence of that deterioration exists in all of us. I always talk about cancer, which is a really simple thing in the sense that, it's a cell that has not been developed properly. And that through the duplication and replication process, just like anything else in the world, when you're creating hundreds of millions and trillions of cells, one of them is not going to be developed exactly as it should be. But that's okay, because that's what our immune system is there for. And our immune system is going to quickly recognize it. it's going to respond to it, and then it's going to resolve it by sending all of the right immune system elements to that area and getting rid of it. But the hallmark of cancer, or the evidence of cancer, was there. It's the same thing with a neurological issue, is that a neurological issue is simply the deterioration of your parts of your nervous system, or your central nervous system, your brain or your nerves. Well, that can be under attack by carcinogens, by sugars, by toxins, by the inherent endogenous, or the stress that our body just creates because of its metabolic processes. So those things are going to happen, but our body has the ability to make sure that it doesn't get to such a point where it manifests itself into a quality of life issue. And so when we talk about 90 for life, we're talking about something very simple. We're not talking about Dr. Wallach, or necessarily about Dr. Wallach. We're not necessarily talking about his 50 years of research and looking at what are the key nutrients that link themselves to vulnerabilities that could cause ourselves symptoms that are now defined by our medical institution as certain diseases and illnesses. It's not the individual nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids, the essential fatty acids. It's not the 20 years of work that the Wallach family and Dr. Joel Wallach, Steve Wallach, Michelle Wallach have done to create a community of millions of individuals worldwide to support them in their health journey. What it really is it's about food. It's always been about food. So at the very end of the day, what allows your body to function is nutrients. So our body has never functioned on the pharmaceuticals or the chemicals or the molecules, if you are, that are in pharmaceuticals. Our body doesn't run on gas. It doesn't run on kerosene or oil or anything like that. Our body, for a limited sense, doesn't run on sunlight like plants and stuff do to a greater degree. It runs on nutrition. And specifically, it runs on the nutrients that are found in nutrition. And nutrition is found in food. Whether you look at food as plant life, whether you look at it as parts of the animal kingdom or animal meat, whether you look at it, well, really, it's kind of the two major places to look, right? And so regardless of how you're looking at it, that food contains nutrients that our body immediately recognizes to perform the functions that they need to keep us running. And what I mean by running is it keeps us protected. It keeps us creating things. It keeps us from breaking down. It helps to create new things in our body. That's what this nutrition actually does. Now, the premise behind Dr. Wallach's philosophy was that we just want you to eat more food. We just want you to eat not just more food, but the right types of food, the right quality of food, the right combination of food, the right kind of amount and timing of food, and all these sort of things I really love. I posted something earlier about this movie that I went to go see, which was The Doctor from India. And it's by a guy, or it's a documentary about Dr. Lad, who brought Ayurveda to the West. And I got all excited about it on Sunday. And so I've been reading about it and watching videos about it and all this sort of stuff. And one of the things that they talk about is our relationship with food, right? And food is just not its nature, meaning that food is not just this avocado, just the nutrition that's in this avocado. It is how the avocado is processed. It's how the avocado is paired with other foods. It's about my body and how it deals with avocado. You've oftentimes heard of some people that have the ability to consume certain foods and some that don't, that have some immediate allergic reaction, while others don't. There's instances in which you take this incredible apple right here, and if you consume it the same way as nature intended you to, you are going to have all of the amazing nutrition in its natural matrix and all of the things that could be detrimental because of the way that it was detrimental, such as sugar is probably the number one thing, is that if you eat it in this way, then you're going to be able to also get the fibers and the pectins and the bioflavonoids and the other things that help that sugar to get digested and to make sure that it doesn't cause such an immediate kind of alert or emergency response. However, if you squeeze the juice just out of this apple, even though you get the same juice that's in this apple, it's going to be treated in the body much, much differently, and you're not going to get some of the incredible benefits. And so it's the relationship with food. And so when we talk about that, we understand that there's a huge complex arrangement that our body goes through when we consume nutrition and when we consume nutrients. Well, with Dr. Wallach's work and research, he said, listen, I believe that the pathway to great health is getting more nutrients and getting the right nutrients in the right way, in the right form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what is keeping us from getting that nutrition. And this is why I really love to talk about Dr. Wallach's his education. I love to talk about his whole path and how he arrived at this 90 for life philosophy, because it just didn't come out of air. It didn't come without an intense amount of study and research. You have to understand, he has a master's of agriculture. He understands what is not only in the soil, but how you're able to grow these amazing nutrition, what you can do that's helpful and beneficial, and what you're doing that's not beneficial. So he is a study of the soil and study of plants. My dad is a master's of agriculture as well too, and so he would always to talk about plant pathology and about how plants grow and how they optimally grow. Dr. Wallach understood that from the very beginning. And the amazing thing as well is that he grew up in that environment. So from the very beginning, he understood the nature of what it takes as a farmer, growing up as parents that were farmers, and him being a farmer, is that he understood the relationship of the nature of what nature does to grow great food, nutrient dense food, and then taking that education and then going to veterinary medicine. And veterinary medicine, which is the hardest of the hardest medicines. I mean, talk to our board members, Dr. Lindell and Dr. Silliman, an orthopedic surgeon, a cardiovascular surgeon, two specialties that are held in high regard. Ask them, what's the most difficult area of medicine? It's veterinary medicine. Why? Because you just have to know one species, if you will, when you're a medical doctor. The humans, obviously, okay, right? In veterinary medicine, you have to know all of these different types of species and how they function, and they all function differently. This is why a cow will digest food differently than a chimpanzee. Dr. Wallach, understanding both of that, understood how you actually are able to extract nutrients from grains and extract nutrients from grasses and plants and things like that, how you optimally do that, because he had that knowledge. And then going into the pathology, understanding the true cause and effect of what happens to the body, taking all that knowledge and then finally becoming a naturopath and understanding the role of how to put all of this together. And so that whole kind of journey, if you will, brings us to what 90 for Life is, which is very, very simple. It's just really great nutrition. I understand it's not in the form of food. I understand that the way you get this box, and this box has either a liquid or powders and soft gels, and this doesn't look like cauliflower. It doesn't look like an apple. It doesn't look like a lemon. It doesn't look like any of that. But what it is that. It is exactly that. Sure, it's not in the same matrix. Sure, it doesn't have some of the complementary nutrients in there. But what it has is it has the most important nutrients that are found in these foods that are most vulnerable to the ways that we grow our food, process our food, cook our food, consume our food. These are the four major things that causes the great nutritional deficiencies, which causes the vulnerability and impairments for us to be able to deal with the common stresses of the world, of life. We're not trying to say that you are no, somebody says, well, I don't need to take supplementation, or I don't need to take supplementation because, I don't deal with the stresses that you deal with, Jeevers. I don't work, the way that you work. I don't exercise the way that you exercise. I don't have those sort of things. I wasn't a chubby kid, let's just say, like I was. I don't have a mom who was diabetic and passed away through cardiovascular issues. I don't have the fact that my ethnicity, which is Indian, has an incidence of cardiovascular disease. I don't have those things. And so those are special stresses. So I don't need this type of nutrition. That is completely wrong. What we're saying is that this is for the common stresses of all of us. And I highly doubt that you don't deal with the same stresses as I do. They're just in different forms. They're just defined differently for you. If you're sleeping all day, every day, and not doing anything, well, then maybe, yeah, you're not dealing with some of the stresses that I have. But I bet you that you are awake and you are performing activities and you are creating metabolic reactions that are causing stress within you, and you're taking on the stress outside, and some things that you just cannot avoid. It's like Dr. Lindell talking about the 60,000 gallons of air that we breathe in that obviously has toxins and pollutants and pathogens and things that our bodies have to deal with that. So essentially what we've done is we've said, okay, or sorry, what Dr. Wallach has done is said, okay, listen, here's what we're going to do. We know that this is what good nutrition is all about. We know, number one, vegetables. We know that there's no argument that vegetables are the best of the best nutrition that you can put in your body. Because of the study of not only him anymore, now these studies are all over the place, and I talk about them on some of my videos, is that our food is greatly nutritionally deficient because our soils are nutritionally deficient. So therefore, we know we're not getting all the nutrition that we need. Okay, right? From even the farms that are trying to do it right. Okay, right? Then secondly, we're going to lose nutrient value. And I did a huge video on this about talking about how much nutrient loss that we have with the storage of food and transport of food when most of us buy it in grocery stores. Okay, right? And then there is the loss of nutrition from the way that we cook food. Whether you're sauteing it, whether you're steaming it, whether you're microwaving it, whether you're grilling it, you're losing 10 to 60% of the nutrients that are all found in that nutrient deficient food that you just bought from the grocery store. And then on top of that, some of us have a lot of digestive issues because of the way that we've been consuming carbohydrates and sugars and things like that. And so we're not even absorbing what little nutrition that's finally found in the food. And now we have our vulnerabilities. But the thing is that our vulnerabilities and our impairments The world doesn't care about them. The world still keeps going on with their toxins and pollutants, and we still create, we're still moving, we're still going to work, we're still picking up the kids, and we're still doing, we're still exercising, we're still doing all of those things that are creating toxins within ourselves just by simply living. But we're not even feeding us the good nutrition, the nutrients that we need to sustain ourselves and to protect ourselves from all of those things. So when people talk about what is 90 for life, I simply say all this is just really great food. Sure, it doesn't look like food, it doesn't taste like food, it doesn't chew like food, but the main reason why you are consuming this food is not because of the taste. It's not because of the way that it's juicy in your mouth. It's not because of the smell. It's not because of any of that. And if that is, then you've got a problem. The reason why you should be consuming this food is because each of these foods have amazing nutrition in them, nutrients that can help you to live better, to have a higher quality of life, to not have to deal with the suffering that these major health issues are going to present to yourself. And that's the number one thing, is that are you that type of person? Are you the person who understands that your body is running on nutrients? Do you understand that the foods that you are consuming are mere vehicles for the nutrients that are in them? If you think that you're getting all of the nutrients from that food, no matter where you're purchasing it from, and I don't care if it's organic or not organic, GMO and not GMO, as I always talk about, a lot of people worry about mice in the attic when there's elephants on the roof. They're telling me about all of this toxins and preservatives and all that sort of stuff, and they're not even eating the right food. Like, don't worry about it. Just eat more vegetables. If you eat enough vegetables, and if you get the right supplementation, any type of pesticide, insecticide, GMO, or whatever is going to be neutralized by this. I believe that. Okay, right? And so therefore, what we're doing is we're essentially getting you all of this great nutrition, and it's done in such a consistent way. It's done in such a powerful way. See, because remember, at the very end of the day, what you do with consistency and intensity will get you to your goal. The reason why you are not at your goal, and I don't care whatever goal it is that you've set for yourself, the reason why you are not there is, number one, you have to have the right plan. Just on this topic, on nutritionally, I'm not talking about your finances, your personal life, all that sort of stuff. You don't have to figure out the plan. Dr. Wallach has already figured out the plan, and he's figured out 8 of these plans called the Healthy Bodies Packs. Okay, right? So first you need the right plan. And then what you need to do is you need to be able to be consistent with that plan. And you need to be very intense with that plan. Now, the intensity is going to be based on how quickly you want to get to your goal. And only you know how quickly you need to get to your goal. You know just how unhealthy you are. And you know that the longer that you are unhealthy, the longer or the harder it is for you to be able to gain your health back. Just remember that real quick. The longer that you are unhealthy, the harder it is for you to be able to get your health back. And the more that you are going to have to do. Why do I do all of the things that I do? Is because I don't want to get so far outside of the band, or the so far outside of the scope, where if I do get unhealthy, that I can not get myself back doing some reasonable things. Because once you get some of these health traumas, you're going to have to do some very intense things, and you're going to find them unreasonable, because they are going to be very uncomfortable, very inconvenient, very hard, and you're going to suffer through doing the work. Not only are you going to suffer through the health issue you're dealing with, you're going to have to suffer through the treatment, the healthy treatment, to get you to try to rid yourself of the suffering that you're dealing with the health issue. That's what happens. So what we've done is we've created a system where all you have to do is just, how hard is this? You drink, you swallow soft gels, you drink 2 powders. And I get it. They may not taste awesome for all of you. They don't taste, Beyond Osteo is not something I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go drink Beyond Osteo. This is fantastic. But I do it, especially when I had a guy's weekend the other day and 2 of my 6 buddies have arthritis. 1 in the shoulder, 1 in the hip. We're 40 years old and they're going to have to do the bone on bone on both of them. They're going to have to do surgery or deal with the pain or live with it. I don't know. It's going to be a major thing. Well, that's why you're drinking Beyond Osteo, is you're preventing those sort of musculoskeletal issues. And so what you have here, I've always said that it's like a souped up multivitamin, but I'm saying that wrong. It's so not a souped up multivitamin. It's a souped up system of health, because it gives you, the BTT gives you, what does it give you? It gives you an entire profile of the necessary vitamins and minerals and amino acids and probiotics that your body needs on a consistent basis. And this multi-nutrient is the foundation for everything to be able to be digested better, utilized better, to be acclimated better, to be metabolized better. All of these things, they need to sit on a solid foundation of multiple nutrition. Because all of these nutrients, remember, they work together. That's the amazing thing about food, and I get it. I get that the fact is that when you're looking at all of this food, it's got this incredible matrix, a very complex matrix of many hundreds of vitamins, minerals, and bioflavonoids and pectins and phytonutrients and all that sort of stuff. And that's what makes them superior if they were of the highest quality to supplementation. No one's arguing that. But they're not grown, and they're not delivered to you in the most superior way. So you're going to have to fill in those deficiencies to make them superior. And that's what something like BTT does. Now, the other two, the Beyond Osteo, listen, the reason why I'm a huge believer and lover of the Beyond Osteo is because it's not a bone health supplement to me. It's not a joint supplement to me. It's literally mobility. It's mobility. And you guys may need to take a step back and think about just how important your mobility is. And you may need to go, if you're having a tough time with that, you may want to go talk to somebody that doesn't have a lot of mobility and talk to them, not about their pain, not to talk to them about how difficult it is for them to talk about what they're missing out in life. That is the definition of mobility. And that's why I've always said your quality of life is directly related to your mobility. Once you lose your mobility, trust me, you lose a big, significant amount of quality of life. There is no reading the book. There is no visitation. There is no TV show. There is no whatever to stimulate you to the degree that being able to go out and be mobile and have that freedom will give you. And then you've got the essential fatty acids, which are what? They are key nutrients that are really difficult to get because we don't consume a lot of the foods that have the right ratios of the omega-3, the omega-6, the omega-9. And as I talked about on a couple of our other videos on products like the Pro Cardio Effects, is that it's just not about omegas. It's the certain type of omega. And so therefore, when you get all of that in a concentrated way, all of these things in a concentrated way that you can do consistently, and therefore, because you're doing it consistently and it's simple for you to do, what those two variables equal out is intensity. So automatically you get intense. So anyways, guys, I hope that you guys learned a little bit more about what 90 for Life is, what the message really means. It's not the words. You know, every word has a meaning. And so Dr. Wallach has a meaning. 90 for life, those 3 words have a meaning. The vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, omega-3, amino acids, tryptophan, lysine, leucine, those words, they have a meaning. And what that meaning is it means the ability to feel good that you're doing everything that you possibly can to maintain or to have the highest quality of life for as long as you're going to have it. And nobody knows how long you're going to have it. There's just too many variables on that point. So anyways, guys, thank you so much. I hope that you join me next Wednesday. Actually, so sorry, next Wednesday I will not be on. And so you'll have to catch me on the following Wednesday. Check out the videos. Check out the Facebook post, because I'm going to be doing a lot more with some of the individual products as well too. So thank you very much. And I will see you in 2 Wednesdays.